hear me?
Yeah!
Love October. Ale. Yeah. God, I love this town. All right, my name is Paul, and I'm going to tell you about the most important choice I've made to date. But I have to start by saying that I don't believe I really have made the most important choice that I've ever made to date, because I haven't chosen to get married yet. I mean, someday that decision may or may not happen, and then I'll say that's the most decision. Then maybe either before or after, I may get to choose whether or not I'm going to have a baby, and then that will be the most important choice that I ever have to make. And quite frankly, I don't even know, with the exception of this one choice that I definitely made, I don't know how much free will I really had in all the other choices I made in my life up to this point. I didn't choose to be white. I didn't choose to be heterosexual. I didn't choose to be born into a pretty good family. I didn't choose my parents. I mean, I think you're getting the point, right? So most of the things that pulled me through my life, maybe I just have the illusion of choice, but a lot of other things were going on in my life, with the exception of this one decision I made toward the end of my 5th year in college. And it wasn't because I was a particularly diligent student, or it wasn't that I was a bad student. I just really didn't care much. Again, I was kind of like, growing up, I never chose to go to college, right? It was just, of course you're going to college. You're a Van Heaton. That's what Van Heatens do, you know? It was just like, just assumed for me. So I was in college, my parents were funding much of it. I was having a good time with it. And as I went through, I decided that what I wanted to do was run radio stations, okay? And mainly, not even because it's something that I kind of purposely chose, it's just that like back when my early teens, I saw a show called WKRP in Cincinnati. And I thought to myself, getting old kind of sucks. But if I'm going to have to be an old fart, I would like to be that big, bald, fat manager of the radio station. He was a pretty cool dude. And I thought that if that's what, if I had to work and, I could make good money and run the radio station and play anything I wanted on the radio, and that would be all good. So that was kind of like, that was a pretty lame major, I guess. So I'm in my 4th year, or 5th year of college at this point, okay? And I had a professor, Professor McNabb. I remember him, till my dying day, because he started the class by saying, he was really frumpy, he dressed a little bit like this, he was just like this. He would, okay, students, here's what's going to happen. I know that many of you want to run radio stations and television stations, but 2 things. Most of you won't, because last year the 1996 Telecommunications Act passed, and within 2 years, most of the independent stations will be gone. Also, when I'm done, you'll be able to predict pretty much what anybody does based on 3 factors: their gender, their area code, and how much television they watch in a given day. And I was like, I'm your typical college student type of guy, and I'm thinking, no fucking way. It's like, oh, come on, man, no. It's like, it's going to be fine. And also, 3 things decide everything that I will be able to predict. Because you have to remember, folks, the advertisers, they look at demographics. Everything's a demographics game. When you watch commercial television, you think it's free, or at least back in the crazy 90s when Ace of Base was the thing, all right? You think it's free, but it really isn't free. What is paying for it is you. The customer is buying you. You're buying your eyeballs. And sure enough, as we went through the statistics, it was a lot of high-level statistical analysis, because we needed to know if you're going to run a radio station, or if you're going to run a TV station, you needed to create these specific graphs and charts predicting what the audience would watch and how much money a customer would have to spend in order to get that individual to separate themselves with their money. So by the end of the thing, I was really freaking good at this. I was really, really weird at this because I can't even do long division. But I was doing ratios and whatever. And then, like the last week of it, I was feeling really high on it. I did this report. I was really good at this. And then one of my friends said, "Well, do these stats apply to you?" And the minute he said that, some massive alarm just went off in my head. Because at the first branch was like, no, these statistics don't count to. Oh, wait, shit, fuck, and I realized that quite frankly, granted I was on a college campus at the time, but I knew that once I moved off the college campus, I would be in a certain age group, and I would be making a certain amount of money, and I could totally see myself living that way, and I just visualized this future where like all the choices that I get to make are just gone, right? And so I resolved that moment that I wanted to be more of a free agent in my life. And I decided right then and there that I was no longer going to watch television. Just boom. No more. No way I'm going to do it. Got home, told my roommate we're getting rid of the TV. He was like, what? We're going to get the TV? It's like, yeah, we're getting rid of it. This is before the internet. We didn't have as many options. It's an easier option these days. You go on the internet, it's like, oh, YouTube. You know, it's easy. But, you know, back in the 90s, it wasn't as much of an option. So I got rid of the TV. And almost overnight. How much time do I have? I'm sorry, I thought somebody said time, and I want to be respectful. I'm sorry, I didn't know. So, porn. Someone said porn. Oh, yeah. I thought it was a timer porn.
What's the difference?
I like it. Give it enough time. There's a lot of porn you can watch. Okay. Anywho, getting back to the story, is that almost instantly I began noticing significant changes in my life. And I can make a direct correlation between my lifestyle now, the very fact, and I'm going to guess that the less amount of television you watch, the truer it is that you do not have a friend and you do not eat at Chili's. You don't. Why would you? But notice every weekend there's a line in front of that place, right? If you do not watch that much television, you probably do not drink that much cola. You probably don't. If you do not watch that much television, you are probably using Goodwill as your primary method of clothing. By the way, everything? Goodwill? Right? Okay, so the moral, if you want to pull one out of this story, is that, you know, I am not the wisest mammal in the whole world, okay? But there's so little that we get to really choose in our lives, that we can really go, yeah, that was a decision I made as a free agent, that my socioeconomic or other things I had no control over, did that. But if you just give up that one thing, just one little thing, giving up television and being an actor, you'll make so much improvement in your life. And it'll just be a good, holy thing. So thank you very much.